Good evening and welcome to the Fernley Planning Commission meeting. Hearing devices are available. Please see the city clerk. Can you guys hear me out there? Yes, okay, thank you. To avoid meeting disruption, please place cell phones in silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. All meetings are recorded. When addressing the Planning Commission, please sign in and state your name, speak clearly into the microphone. Thank you for your understanding. Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner Wagner, can you please lead us in the pledge?
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's take roll. Commissioner Vanderheiden,
Present.
Tessa Garvin. She is absent. Commissioner Cody Wagner. Thank you. Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
Commissioner Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Flores.
Present.
And I am Commissioner McCullough. We do have a quorum. Oh, so sorry. And Commissioner Holt is also present. Thank you. Okay, public forum. This is the portion of the meeting devoted to the public. The public may comment on any matter that is not specifically included on the agenda as an action item. Items not included on this agenda cannot be acted upon other than to place them on a future agenda. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting or use the raise your hand feature in Zoom, *9 if you are participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. The chair may, at her discretion, hold comments until the second public forum at the end of the meeting. Public comments submitted prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting will be provided to the Planning Commission and added to the record, but will not be read during the live meeting. Any public input received after 4 p.m. the day of the meeting will be included in the record, but may not reach commission members before action is taken. Is there any public input? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. All right. Item. What was that?
That was my phone. Sorry. I'm trying to figure this out being so far away, but I got it now.
Okay, 10-4. All right, item 1.4, approval of the agenda. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
I move to approve tonight's agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Can we please vote? I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Can we please vote? That was me. What are you guys doing? I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Can we please vote? That was me.
I vote yes. It doesn't look like it's coming up on my screen, so there you go.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 1.5, approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting? Commissioner Flores?
I move to approve the minutes from the last session of the Planning Commission.
Okay, I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Can we please vote?
I'm a yay.
Thank you. Okay, that passes 7-0. Okay, item number 2. Presentation from Maurice Page, Executive Director of the Nevada Housing Coalition, on new legislation regarding housing and the state of housing in rural Nevada. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Michelle Rambo, Planning Director for the record. Forgot who I was for a second there. We've met recently with Maurice Page and the Nevada Housing Coalition to go over some of the new laws that were passed recently by the state. And we thought it was a good idea to have him come and do a presentation for you to bring you guys up to speed on some of the current housing issues that we have and some of the legislation. So I will turn it over to him.
Good evening. How's everyone? Commissioner. Again, my name is Maurice Page. I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada Housing Coalition. Next slide. Or do I have a clicker? Yes, sorry. Thank you. Okay. And it may have something here. All right, felt it vibrate.
There we go.
All right, excellent. We are a statewide 501c3 that was established back in 2019. Our core advocacy is to promote education, collaboration, and advocacy regarding affordable housing. Our mission statement, as you can see, is to promote the development and preservation of affordable housing for all Nevadans through our collaboration, advocacy, and education processes. Over the last 7 years, we've been able to advocate for over $750 million that has come into the state for development of housing. And into that turn, we have also been able to produce close to 6,000 new homes statewide that has been developed during that time frame. So before we get into a lot of what's going on within the state as far as where housing is at, I'd like to kind of give you a backdrop as to where we stand right now. A study that was taken by the Nevada Grant Lab a few years ago showed that Nevada receives among the least federal grant funding per capita. In fiscal year 2022, we received $800 less per person than the national average. And as you can see, we rank in the bottom 20 of 5 of the 10 largest funding categories. So you'll see that as income security, social services, health, non-Medicaid, energy, environment, education, community and regional development, as well as agriculture. So why am I here? To talk about affordable housing. And so there's been a lot of information that has been taken out and put out there into the universe about, that it's negative, that it's bad, and that it's not good, and or that it is things, or that it should be good, and or they just don't have the education around it. Well, recent studies for under HUD reports that affordable housing refers to housing that costs no more than greater than 30% of a person's gross income, including rent, mortgage, payments, and utilities. If you are paying more than 30%, you are severely cost burdened. If you are paying more than 50%, you are severely cost burdened. And what I can show and tell you is that in the state of Nevada, our residents are paying on average between 52 and 54% of their income is going towards their rent, utilities, or housing costs. It has also been proven that affordability, if we have more affordable housing throughout the state, it also helps our economic development. It brings folks are able to now be focused in on their jobs or their families and being able to do the work that needs to get done on a day-to-day basis. It also promotes stability, health, and workforce retention. So the fear always comes from when you talk about affordable housing, property values, crime, community character, arguments stem from outdated zoning and lack of information. But I'm here to tell you that in recent research spanning the last 2 decades showed a no negative impact around affordable housing on surrounding property values. In many cases, such developments lead to slight increases in nearby home values. And what I can tell you is that especially over the last 3 to 5 years, with the increase of affordable housing developments, multifamily developments being built across the state, we have seen property values also increase during that time frame. New homes are being built. They're like state of the art. They have stainless steel appliances. They're built in great neighborhoods. The community comes out and supports these individuals. These are individuals where when we think about affordable housing, you may think of drug addicts or folks with mental health behaviors or folks that are just, don't have the lack of education. That is not the case. These are individuals that are just struggling. Our state average per income is roughly at about $68,000 to $72,000 a year. With the way the economy has gone up and has exploded over the last few years, folks are just not able to afford housing. And so therefore, being able to provide more affordable housing is great for our communities throughout. So another issue that has come about is called NIMBYism, not in my backyard. This is where folks come in and say, "Hey, we do not want this. We do not want low-income housing in our communities." Well, affordable housing is not necessarily low income. It is not Section 8. These are not always HUD-funded programs. These are communities and multifamily developments that are built to reflect the community's income. And so if you have a neighborhood where the income is below average and you have homes or apartments that are above the economic levels, you need more affordable housing in those communities to be able to touch and be able to provide resources for those individuals that are struggling on a day-to-day basis. The quote that you see on the screen, affordable housing strengthens neighborhoods. It does not weaken them. So here's the need for affordable housing. In our state alone, we need roughly 78,000 units. As you can see on the screen, 93,574 and 19% of our renters in this state are extremely low income. The annual income, as I stated earlier, is only about $64,203. And then 86% of our extremely low income renters households are severe cost burden. So it goes back to my point earlier where I said we have a strong population that is extremely cost burden. They're putting a majority of their funding towards their housing. And so if there is a situation where they need childcare or they have a flat tire or if another emergency situation arises, they don't have the savings or the extra monies to be able to go out and afford and take care of those responsibilities because their monies are going strictly towards just trying to cover their day-to-day expenses. So again, as a whole, extreme low income, these are for individuals that are making $30,000 or less. We need 78,000 units just to support them statewide. If you add in your missing middle, your workforce, or your market rate, we are at roughly at about 140,000 units short as to where we need to be. That is statewide. Housing affordability in Fernley. Let's talk about this. In the blue, you see that that's the annual fair market rent. The other colors represent industries: hospitality, home health, manufacturing, retail, construction. As you can see, you only have folks that are able to afford a studio or a 1-bedroom. After that, for a 2, 3, and 4-bedroom, they are being outpriced. Therefore, they are becoming extremely cost burden when coming to live or try to make out their day-to-day lives because all of their money is going towards housing. That is a strong issue that we have to overcome, especially here in this community where we are growing. When you look at your housing market conditions just here in Lyon County, excuse me as I get my notes together, we can see that that population increased 1.7 annually from 2022 to 2024, adding over 2,100 residents in just the 2 years. The housing unit growth has not kept pace. Since 20 to 23, only 181 new units were added annually on average, which is insufficient to meet the rising demand. So your population growth is steadily rising, but housing development is not catching up and is creating pressure on your other developments and on affordability and availability. Your rental market is also tight and it's also shrinking. The renter-occupied share of housing dropped from 27% in 2021 to 23.6% in 2023, indicating a shrinkage in your rental market. So with fewer units available and lower vacancy rates, affordable rental housing is urgently needed moving forward. Again, just looking at your housing market conditions, you can see where the building kind of decreased over the last couple of years after 2021. So let's talk about policy. First, let me say that we have come a long way in the last 10 years. This is not to, as I've traveled around the state, given these presentations, we have talked about all of the issues, but we have also moved in the right direction, especially within the last 10 years. But when we talk about policy, Nevada's crisis requires smart growth and cross-sector collaboration. We need partnerships with developers, localities, and more residents. And we need to promote more housing literature. So let's talk about the 2025 legislation process. As you all know, there was roughly about 1,200 bills that were submitted, 1,200 bill draft requests. Out of those 1,200, 63 of those bills represented housing. Let's put that in perspective. I stated earlier, in the last 10 years, we have come a long way. In the last 10 years, in 2015, there was only 3 housing bills that affected housing. 10 years later, we are now up to 63 housing bills, which shows that this is a partisan issue. It shows that this is on the top of people's minds, and we are looking for solutions, which is incredible. Out of those 63 housing bills, we had a 40% success rate. 26 of those bills were signed into law, which was awesome. Okay? 518 bills were vetoed or were signed into law overall, and we had 87 bills that were vetoed. Now, this is the Housing Coalition. This is Maurice Page's perspective on what was vetoed, because a lot of folks have said, oh my goodness, that is a lot of bills. This is terrible. Technically, it is not. Again, when you look at the history of how our legislation runs, and 10 years ago, we did not have 1,200 bill draft requests, right? There has to be things that are vetoed. Sometimes the language is not good, or sometimes they're just not great bills. And when you look at that on a national perspective, we are roughly at about average as to where we need to be. So overall, when we look at economic development, when we look at housing, when we look at healthcare, we are actually moving in the right direction in regards to how our state is going. We also have to keep in mind that we are still in the top 5 as one of the fastest growing states consistently. We've been there since 2000, where we ranked either 1 or 2, and over the last couple of years, we've fallen down, but we're still number 4, and I don't know what the numbers are for this year, but we're still in the top 5 as far as the fastest growing states throughout the country. So let's talk about some of the housing bill outcomes. We had 9 bills that was approved for affordable housing development and financing, 2 bills that was presented around tenant rights, landlord-tenant law. We have 5 bills that were around supportive housing and homelessness. We had 1 bill that was around rental assistance, eviction diversion. We had manufactured mobile home parks, 3 bills that passed. Tenant anti-discrimination and fair housing, 3. Local government zoning, 3. Property tax and abatements, 1. And then we had 5 that were vetoed, and the rest were just killed early in session. So let's talk about some of the highlights that we had during this legislative cycle. As we all know, Assembly Bill 540 was the biggest bill that came out. That was the Governor's Housing Attainability Accountability Act, where we are looking to increase home ownership efforts throughout the state. This bill will represent $133 million coming out of our general fund. This money will go towards helping produce starter-type homes, so lowering the cost of our home values. So right now, on average, as a state, we're roughly at about $460,000. The governor has planned to have these starter-type duplexes, condos, townhomes types of homes start in the low to mid 300s. With that, we're looking to aim, or he is looking to aim, to have 5,000 to 7,000 individuals and families be able to achieve some form of home ownership and start their path on generational wealth. Huge bill. If you look at the breakdown of it, $25 million will go towards down payment assistance. $25 million will go towards eviction diversion, and as well as other smaller type programs, grant programs, and $83 million will go towards the development of these homes. He has developed a housing council that meets monthly. If you are aware, the applications have already gone out. So we are looking to have that money start going out between the end of December or early next year. One of the other bills that passed, and what was huge, was the Nevada Supportive Housing Development Fund. In 2023, this bill was presented and was also passed, but it was a one-time appropriation of $32.2 million. This year, we brought it back to looking to have this be a permanent fixture within our general account, and we were successful in having that move forward. Going forward, there will be a $20 million budget line for supportive housing. This will provide the wraparound services for individuals and families to maintain their housing, get the support and education that they need so that they can maintain and grow and move forward with their lives. Some of the other bills that also passed was, again, Assembly Bill 475, which was based around eviction diversion, and as well as the AB 62, which is around our state tax credits. Although that was a mixed bag, simply because our technical language was moved forward, meaning that execution of licensures, getting development projects and environmental reviews moved forward in a quicker fashion. However, our state tax credits were not moved forward. We did ask for an extension of a 10-year, $100 million. However, that was null and void due to other factors. And so we're looking to bring that back. But that is critical because in 2027, if we do not extend our state tax credits, affordable housing development will ultimately come to a halt. Right now, we have enough funds in our account to move forward through the next year and a half. But if we do not have those state tax credits, which serves as a gap fund, a gap stop for our developers to be able to build out, funding for those developments will be on hold until we're able to find other resources that can fill that gap for developers to close so that they are able to continue with their builds. So with that being said, I thank you very much for your time and your patience with me this evening. I'm open to take any questions.
I actually have a question. So what would be your recommendation on a city like ours? So I know that we need more housing, but as a planning commissioner, anytime I'm out and about in the community, people always say to me, quit approving more people coming to the area until we can fix the infrastructure, until we can fix the traffic. Because the traffic in this town has absolutely gotten horrendous. So we're putting what I feel is like an unjust traffic burden on our existing residents to bring in more housing. So where's the balance there? How do we balance that, and how do we fix that to not make it a terrible traffic problem for our existing residents, yet be able to bring in new housing?
That is an excellent question. Number one, I understand the traffic. It was rough for me getting here. I actually flew up from Las Vegas about a couple of hours ago. So coming into town to get here was a little rough with the traffic. So definitely see firsthand what you mean by that. Here's the reality of it is when you talk about folks moving in and we have to look at infrastructure, that is the key. Nevada as a whole, our population will skyrocket within the next 15 to 20 years. Right now, as a state, everyone knows we're roughly about 3.3. In the next 15, 20 years, we're expected to add another 1 million folks and residents in here to our state. In Southern Nevada alone, 800,000 will be moving into Southern Nevada over that time frame as well.
Excuse me, let's just talk about this
I am.
city.
I am.
So
I'm
how
getting
do,
to it.
yeah, so how do we like build a little bit, do a little bit of infrastructure, build a little bit, so it like goes hand in hand, not just
Absolutely.
build everything, but no infrastructure.
So, and I think that's where we all have to, sit down and we have to talk and we have to understand where there's opportunities for us to build out. Understanding where the city is as far as growth. Again, going back to the numbers that I instituted earlier, we saw that there was incremental growth. You had almost 2% growth over the last couple of years. And we have to figure out how we can keep pace with that as well as keeping a balance. And I think that for us to be able to realize how we can expand roads, how we can expand the infrastructure, we have to look at where our revenue sources are so that we can build out. We have to figure out, where the communities are, where the land is available for us to do that. And so it's not an overnight or just a simple answer that I can provide to you. It does take a lot of planning. And again, what we can do as a coalition, we can sit down and I can sit down with you and the Planning Commission and we